when a boy when he could come inside of my playpen, cause he looked like a superstar in the making. So I think that I'm going in for the taking. Hear through the grapevine that he caking. We could shoot a movie, he could do the taping. Boom, boom, pow, this thing be shaking. I ain't even try to find out who.
How many times have you been watching the UFC and heard somebody say, he's going for a Darce choke? You ever wonder where that came from? There are some theories, but I'm bringing you the real story, the real deal from the man himself, Joe DRC, as well as some interesting stories from the early days at the Renzo Gracie Academy in New York, and some other things. Sit back and enjoy my interview with Joe DRC. I'm here with Joe DRC. You might know him. I'm sure you know him if you watch the UFCs. You hear his name about 5 times the UFC. But lots of people may not know that, Joe, you came from that early generation of great fighters, grapplers from Renzo's in New York. Tell us what it was like. The environment, being on the mat with all his future greats, Danaher, Sarah's, Jamie Cruz, Rodrigo Gracie, etc.
When I first started training, there wasn't much higher belts. You know, it was blues, purples. That's pretty much it. It wasn't many black belts. So, you know, it's different now. I mean, now there's so many higher belts, you know, to knowledge to learn from and stuff. But so people nowadays, I think, have more advantage than when I started training. But I mean, don't get me wrong, we had great training. And, you know, me and you spoke about this yesterday, actually, and you brought it up, how, you know, Renzo's style of teaching, he didn't hold anything back. He just let everything go, all his knowledge, and he, you know, sincere, showed us everything. So we benefited from that, definitely, without a doubt.
Okay. So how did talk to me about how the Darce choke got its name. What's it like to hear your name 5 times every UFC?
You know, I tell everybody. I get emails and stuff, and, you know, you didn't make this up. Why is it called after you? I never claimed to invent it. You know, I don't even really call it the Darce choke, you know. John Danaher showed me the move. So he showed me the move. How it became popular is Jason Miller years and years ago, came out to Long Island to train. You know, we had a training session, and, you know, through the training session, the Darce choke came about. You know, we were reviewing techniques, doing techniques, and, you know, it was a new move to him, and he brought it to the West Coast. He was training with Mark Lehman at the time, who's a very popular MMA coach, and that's basically how it came about. Mark Lehman loved it, called it the Darce choke, and trained all his fighters, and called it the Darce choke. So that's how, you know, he got his name.
That's pretty cool. So you were one of the most decorated U.S. grapplers in the late 90s, early 2000s. Pan, world medals, no gi and gi East Coast tournaments. Talk to me about what that time was like and who inspired you in your game as you were coming up.
Well, I would say I was inspired by a lot of people. You know, my immediate instructors, Rodrigo Gracie, Renzo Gracie, you know, they showed me a lot, and I wanted to make them proud. You know, like they showed me their brand of jiu-jitsu, and I had a passion for it. I still do it. I loved it, and trained hard, did the best I can, went to tournaments all the time. So, you know, I would say my motivation was to make them proud. And as far as competitors watching, I mean, when I was competing, I watched a lot of people. Faye Tozer, Shaolin, Hobson Moore. I mean, those guys, they were cleaning house in black belt division. So those are people that I watched and, you know, I learned from and wanted to be like.
A lot of people don't know you actually fought MMA in Japan versus Masaki, Pride Tourney champion. Tell us that story.
Yeah. Masaki was, I believe he was 8-2. I think he was up and coming. He was one of the best middleweights at the time.
Right.
In Japan, I was training one day at Renzo's, and Renzo said, "Hey Joe, you want to fight MMA?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" You know.
How old are you?
I was 21.
Cool.
I was 21. Probably had about like 7-8 weeks notice. I mean, looking back, would I have took the fight? Probably not. You know, I mean, the ironic part is I almost won, but I had no stand-up experience, no kickboxing experience. I pretty much winged it. I went out there, you know, said I'm just going to take him down and finish him. And it almost worked out that way. I mean, I totally dominated in the first round, took him down, passed his guard, mounted him, took his back. And then the second round didn't go too well. You know, I was gassed out. You know, fighting in another country when nobody wants you to win, when when you hear the crowd cheering against you, it really draws a lot of energy out of you. And I remember watching UFC once when Frank Trigg said that, and it's very true. When you're in the ring and you're fighting, and you know, when you're getting punched, you hear the crowd cheering the other person. It really draws a lot of energy away from you, anxiety and whatnot. So I mean, hey, you live and learn. You know, I mean, I learned a lot from the fight. I think it made me mature in many different ways. So I mean, I wouldn't take it back.
That's awesome. So speaking of MMA, what do you think about jiu-jitsu and MMA today? What jiu-jitsu fighters and MMA impress you, and why?
When I watch MMA, I like to watch complete fighters. I don't want to say that I just watch, you know, jiu-jitsu fighters or kickboxers or whatever. I like to watch complete fighters. You know, I like to watch people who can punch, standing up, kick, you know, work their ground game. You know, I like to watch complete fighters. I like to watch fighters who fight with a lot of heart.
Cool. Any fighters today that are your favorite fighters, people you like to watch?
I don't think I really have a favorite fighter per se.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I enjoy watching complete fighters.
Okay.
You know, people who, you know, who are well-rounded as far as their wrestling, their stand-up, their ground game. Those are the fights I enjoy to watch. You know, people who are complete fighters and fight with a lot of heart and fight to win. You know, I'm not. You're gonna fight to win a decision, take someone down, stall them out. No one really wants to watch that. You know, I like to watch people who fight to win and who are complete fighters.
Okay. So I just spent some time with some of your black belts and your students. You got a great group of guys. What's your favorite part of being an instructor?
I would say the feeling you get when you see your students progressing, and it doesn't even have to be in the tournament field. Just when they're picking up the art and you see how it benefits them, you know, how it changes their life, you know, makes them a better person, keeps them doing things that are constructive. You know, I think jiu-jitsu is, people say jiu-jitsu is a way of life, and I could definitely agree with that.
And a huge topic today in the BJJ community is the responsibility instructors have to their students and communities. Where do you stand on this? Like, what ideals and characteristics are most important to you in your school and students you bring up?
I think it's important for an instructor to be a positive role model. You know, I mean, you have a lot of young kids training today, teenagers, preteens, and you know, they'll look up to their immediate instructor. You know, so I think that's my responsibility. Not only the teenagers, but even the adults. You know, they look up to me to an extent as well. So just to be a positive influence on them. You know, for the younger kids, to keep them constructive, keep them away from maybe drugs or, you know, hanging out with people who get them into no good. You know, again, jiu-jitsu is constructive. It keeps them doing something positive. It builds good work ethic, because it's not an easy art. You know, as you know, we all started as white belts and we all tapped a lot. So it's not something that's easy. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication. I think that translates well just into life in general.
Awesome. Anything else you want to leave the fans with?
That's pretty much it. You know, you and Dave Jacobs taught a great seminar at my place today, and I appreciate it. And we'll practice techniques.
Yeah.
That's it.
Congrats to you promoting a couple of guys to first degree black belts, world famous Vamos brothers. Congrats to you, and it's great spending time with you, Joe.
My pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed my interview with Joe DRC, black belt under Renzo Gracie, accomplished instructor, super competitor. I first met Joe when he was 19 years old, an up-and-comer, one of the top young American grapplers. I thought, the kid has promise. Nice guy. Little did I know the character, the sincerity, and the kindness that lay beneath that fierce competitive spirit. He's developed into quite a man, a leader of men. He's got great black belts underneath him and a great network of students and people that I consider friends today. It was a pleasure and an honor to sit down with Joe DRC. I hope you enjoyed it too. I'll see you next time on Off the Mat with the Crusher.
Just met a boy when he could come inside of my playpen, cause he looked like a superstar in the making. So I think that I'm going in for the taking. Hear through the grapevine that he caking. We could shoot a movie, he could do the tape.